A lot of homeowners think that because the market is strong, selling is easy. I'm watching a lot of homeowners make mistakes right now that in a real estate transaction, when you add them up, cost thousands of dollars. In this video, I'm going to go over the 3 biggest mistakes I'm seeing West Hartford sellers make right now and how you can avoid them. The first thing, let's dive right in. The first thing that I'm noticing is no strategy. If you search active listings in West Hartford, we're not going to call anybody out, but you'll see listings with, average at best photos, photos that look like they might have been taken themselves. You'll see homes, that were just severely overpriced. You'll see homes that have no preparation at all, and they're just sitting there. The strategy matters, right? Your approach matters. It's something you want to really spend a lot of time preparing as an agent and going over with the seller to make sure it's aligned and everybody agrees and is on the same page. The rage of coming soons, it's one of the biggest phenoms here in real estate. The coming soon has become very popular over the past couple years. Well, this is a strategy. It's not something you have to do. In many cases, I encourage my clients to not do a coming soon. For a few specific reasons. One, it allows your competition to position themselves against you and either beat you to the market or intentionally wait to see how it goes, right? In a lot of cases, beating you to the market and using you as leverage goes in the seller's favor who gets to the market sooner. The other piece from a strategy perspective is many buyers become very frustrated. They get excited about a property and then they can't see it for a week and they start to lose interest and shift their focus somewhere else and sometimes don't come back. Yes, a lot of times you'll get showings off the coming soon as well. You're going to get showings one way or the other. Let's get buyers in when they're motivated and can actually act. That's when the emotionality takes over, and the emotionality is what takes a well-priced home into land that no one thought was possible, right? That day one offer that is so ridiculous that no one could imagine gets taken because that buyer can get in on day one, not because they were forced to wait a week. And now they see all the other offers in the marketplace and they have to wait and they have a chance to think things over and analyze everything to a T. When the buyer gets in on day one, they don't want to lose. They're going to come in strong when it's aligned and they can keep their momentum in the buying process. So listen, I know people have had success with the coming soon. From a strategy perspective, I think you can use it to your advantage if you're a seller who's working with an agent who prepares for it. So that's just one example. Strategy matters. If you want to get into strategy on your home, there's a lot more specifics than just that. That will be its own separate video. But I wanted to give you an idea of some of the things that are looked at when it comes to strategy. Open houses, how you want to prep the home. We're going to get into that a little bit later in the video in terms of preparation. But to do or not to do is a big strategy play as well. Let's get into the second thing. Second thing is, of course, pricing. Pricing has always been important. But as someone who's done this for the past 15 years, I don't think there's been a time where more money is either gained or lost from the wrong list price. When it's priced correctly, again, that emotionality, and you get people fighting over the property, that emotionality takes over, and again, it takes listings to lands that no one thought was possible. That's a big part of that's done through pricing, right? If you overprice it, you don't get enough in there, it sits, people start to negotiate. If you go too low, you set a floor that you as a seller are now not comfortable with if you're not going to get a multi-offer, and you're certainly not guaranteed multi-offers in this market. It's the buyer pool has shrunken a little from 2-3 years ago if we're looking at total sales. That being said, there's still enough demand to absolutely give yourself a chance at multiple offers. So you don't want to create a floor that's too low where you're stuck with a bad price, and you also don't want to go too high where you've lost that buyer momentum window and people start to think something's wrong with the property because it's sitting. It is a balance, right? it's almost like a skill of any level. You know, someone that is a drywaller or a roofer or a painter, right? The act of doing it every day gives them the experience to have a touch to really smooth things out in a way that a homeowner couldn't just get in there and get the same results. It's very similar. A good agent who has been in multiple properties, who has seen the process play out multiple times, not only are they using the evidence that they're seeing in the market, but they're using their personal experience with that evidence to help guide the seller into the best pocket that's going to create that competition and really drive the price up. So overpricing, underpricing is number two, the second biggest mistake I'm seeing in this market here in West Hartford. And the final thing kind of goes with that first one in strategy is the preparation. The preparation. Now this is an interesting topic because when I say preparation, I mean over preparation can cost you thousands. If you're just putting money and time into projects that aren't going to give you a return, you are losing money there. And a lot of times that's unrealized loss. A seller thinks that it's a proactive thing. Maybe even they have some people telling them it's proactive, and they sell the home. So they don't even know they lost any money. They don't realize that maybe they could have got the same price with less effort, right? So again, without diving too much into strategy, because this is situational, to give you a little bit of an idea of what I'm talking about, I've sold homes that literally are extremely dated, are sold with all the personal items in there, and that's done by design to save the sellers the money and time of fixing it up. And it's actually a presentation. You're presenting a home in its rawest fixer-upper form, and there is a market for that, a very hot market for that. So if that's the route you're going to go, own it. Don't do one thing that's not going to move the needle on price and cost you money. You're still going to be in that same tier, right? Own it. Sell it completely the way as it is with minimum effort, and let that sub-market, that fixer-upper market, the people that are looking for those homes, go crazy over it. Price it right. Do great marketing. Get the right type of buyer who's looking for fixer-upper in there, and let that market go crazy, right? Then you have your mid-tier market, where maybe the home is dated in some spots or dated in general, but you're going to clean it up. We say walls, floors, landscaping. You have clean walls, declutter, clean floors, clean landscaping. That's that next tier. Own that tier. Don't just randomly do a giant remodel project that's not going to get you in that top tier to add value. You're not going to move the needle. You're in that mid-range tier, right? But clean it up if you want to own that mid-range tier. Put a little bit of effort in to make sure you get the best return on investment. And then you got your top tier. The home is made. Everything's been done. Now, this could be a few reasons. One, it could be a flipper who got the home off market or got an amazing deal on a property, and they've renovated everything, and now they intentionally, strategically went into that top tier. Or it's someone that did it for themselves and lived in it and got some personal enjoyment out of it for some years, and now they're selling it. But either way, that home is mint, completely remodeled. So the third mistake I see people make is they spend money and time on a project that doesn't put them in another tier, right? So having a strategy call or sit down with a good, strong local agent who's seen all of the tiers sell and can help guide you on which tier you're in and share some comps and data to see if it makes sense for you to try to bump up a tier or if you should own the tier you're in. That's the type of strategy call I'm talking about, and that is the third biggest mistake that I'm seeing right now in this market. So again, real estate's extremely situational. If you want to dive in, talk a little strategy based on your situation, call, text, email. I'm here, and I'll be sure to get more videos out next week. Have a good weekend.